Moldova today is at a crossroads. One road points east towards Russia, the other leads west towards the European Union. While most Moldovans share the same worries and problems, they disagree on which option, Russia or the EU, is the path to a better future. So let's look into the future. It is the year 2040. 15 years have passed since Moldova made its fateful choice. In one future, it turned towards Russia. In another, it joined the European Union. Let's visit both Moldovas and see what has changed in 15 years. In the Russia-bound Moldova, the economy runs on subsidies from Moscow. Shops are stocked mostly with Russian goods, wages have barely kept pace, and many young graduates have left for St. Petersburg or Moscow. Life in those cities is more dynamic but also fiercely competitive. For Moldovans, moving there often means long hours, crowded apartments, and competing against others drawn by the same promise. Alina, once a student dreaming of a career abroad, works in an office in Chisinau that survives on state contracts. Across in the European Moldova, life looks different. Alina, after a semester in Berlin, works for a company with clients around the world. Without leaving home, she collaborates with colleagues in Paris and Warsaw and feels that her degree truly connects her to a wider world of opportunity. Supermarkets carry food from across the world. Wages have risen alongside investment, and EU funds have improved infrastructure. Ion, who once counted every low, is no longer afraid his basics won't be covered, with the European safety net ensuring healthcare, schooling, and other essentials for his family. Public transport has improved, making his work accessible. Yet EU membership also brought challenges. Millions of people left to work abroad, creating labor shortages and separating families. Despite billions in EU funding, regional inequalities persisted, with rural areas lagging behind Chisinau. Many complain about Brussels' slow bureaucracy and complex regulations, which make local reforms sluggish. Corruption, a prominent problem in 2025, has developed differently in both Moldovas. In the European Moldova, EU oversight tightened the grip on corruption, putting it in decline. Courts became stronger and more independent, investigations reached even the powerful, and the culture of compulsory bribes slowly eroded. Favors are still given to doctors and others after treatment. Ion knows he could cut in line with favors to doctors, but also knows his family will be treated well without them, so he no longer does it. Alina, still upset about this type of corruption, speaks about it online without fear. Something unthinkable for Alina in the Russia-aligned Moldova, where criticism carries real risk. Yet big corruption scandals and rule of law disputes still sometimes shake trust in institutions. And reforms can be slowed by EU bureaucracy. In Russian Moldova, bribes remain part of daily life, and favors for officials and well-connected families often outweigh merit. Alina does not speak up anymore, afraid of the consequences. Ion still bribes underpaid hospital staff to ensure his children get treatment in hospital, and while he struggles to afford these bribes, he sees others living lavishly. Politics and business are controlled by a handful of elites who have no care in the world. The company sheriff that once only dominated Transnistria now dominates all of Moldova. With little opportunities at home, Alina has considered seeking opportunities in Russia, but also their promotions are often based on nepotism. Energy tells the same story of contrast. In the Russian Moldova, the entire country relies on the massive gas-fired power plant in Transnistria. The lights usually stay on, but everyone knows it is at full discretion of Moscow supplying gas. The arrangement means Moldova has lost control of its own energy system. Everyone knows that at any moment, a crisis in Moscow could see supplies to Moldova reduced or switched off. In the European Moldova, the lights stay on reliably. The country is tied into Europe's energy grids, buying gas and electricity from multiple sources and investing heavily in renewables. Throughout the years, Ion used subsidies to insulate his apartment, install solar panels, and replace old heating systems with efficient ones. His children grew up without ever being cold at home, and his bills have gotten lower. So how have democracy and freedom developed in these two potential realities? In the European Moldova, politics is noisy, sometimes messy, and not always very efficient. But power is never centralized. Bad government leaders get sent away, and different opinions argue with each without fear of prosecution. Opposition parties campaign, newspapers criticize openly, citizens debate and demonstrate freely. In the Russian Moldova, elections are predictable. Opposition has been persecuted into absentia, and the remaining press says only what Moscow allows. Street life is orderly, flags fly proudly, and traditional family values and roles are celebrated as a source of national strength. Many take comfort in this stability, though voices like Alina's, once outspoken online, have grown quiet. And identity itself has diverged. In Russia's Moldova, Moldovan culture survives, but in Moscow's shadow. All schools teach Russian curricula, no longer offering Romanian. As a consequence, fewer and fewer young people speak or identify as Romanian. Public life is dominated by Russian media, stressing patriotism and loyalty, binding their identity to tradition, family, and faith. Ion values this return to certainty, a shield against the rapid changes of the modern world. Yet he knows many teenagers quietly dream of leaving, their diplomas worth little beyond Russia. At home, highly visible projects and parades showcase state power and making Moldovans feel genuine national pride. In Europe's Moldova, language and heritage are not only preserved, but celebrated as part of Europe's cultural mosaic. Festivals of local folklore, language and literature are financially supported by EU programs. And most Moldovans feel both proudly national and are happy to be European. But not all feel that way. Some minority groups feel marginalized under EU protection frameworks, and debates over integration policies can be tense. Children in modernized classrooms learn foreign languages next to Romanian. Exchange programs send them to Paris, Berlin, and Tallinn. This offers young people many opportunities, but Ion sometimes worries that his children grow distant from old traditions, from Moldovan ways, and from their mother tongue. Two Moldovas, two very different lives. One offers stability, clear roles, and tradition, but at the price of dependence and isolation. The other offers openness, freedom, and opportunity, but also constant change and uncertainty. For Alina, it was the worth of her degree and her freedom to speak. For Ion, it was whether his children would grow up with limits or with horizons. By 2040, the choice is clear. Not because one path is easy, but because each offers a different kind of Moldova. The question remains, which Moldova will its people want to live in? The choice lies with the Moldovan people, both at home and in the diaspora, to vote for the future they want for their home country. Want to learn more about Moldova, its democracy, and societal challenges? Then please subscribe for more explainers.